Well, hello, good morning, everybody. It is my morning. I am having my morning coffee. We are commencing with our morning Pete's Coffee. And I just want to say I am grateful for this morning. I'm grateful to be alive. I'm grateful to all you Leapskins. And if you could share, subscribe, and join the party, it would be awesome. Let's talk royalty. Let's talk royal. Oh, let's do it. Aren't you tired of all this damn political gossip? Let's have some fun. What is remote viewing if you practice heart centered remote viewing? It's when you listen and try to get someone to let you in energetically to such an extent where you have a syncretic experience, or where you literally begin to think the thoughts and feelings of another human being. It doesn't mean that you're going to get a ticker tape out of every single word. For example, I felt the need to carry the weight of the country as the queen when I put myself in the shoes of the queen. I felt the weight of that. I put myself in her shoes. And I think I said Queen of England rather than Queen of Great Britain and the Commonwealth. Oh, then it can't be real because she didn't use the proper lingo. It's not about the proper lingo. It's about, can you fully immerse yourself so much in the world of the other person that you begin to have empathy for them and can speak pretty accurately on their behalf. Not that every single word is going to be accurate. The purpose is to build empathy. So, what I felt as Prince William was that there was always somebody around me controlling everything. And I felt an affinity to Queen Victoria. If I, as William, when I found myself so controlled, I felt like I could really relate to stories I had heard of Queen Victoria. And I imagine that William probably made that comparison because from the moment he was born, the weight of the world was on him. That this massive family business, this firm, which employs a lot of people and is a major breadwinner for the country, is on your shoulders. And the thing I felt very recently when I meditated on this was that I am the institution. You have molded me so thoroughly and controlled me so thoroughly to represent the institution that I now am the institution. And so there's very little of me left as William. No matter how much they say in public, oh, the parents worked very hard to ensure that he would have a happy child. That, and maybe the pictures are that we're looking all happy, and maybe there was a moment of happiness, but ultimately there was a looming feeling over everything that your life ultimately belonged to the institution. The other comment that we got a lot about had to do with the fact that the royal press has released photographs and images of the royal family as happy. That pro-royal rags are writing articles depicting Meghan as a narcissist. And so now people think she's a narcissist because the articles are written with instruction to depict her as a narcissist and a selfish person, right? So, and then narcissists are coming in after reading these rags and saying, well, I'm a narcissist too, so I can totally relate to that. The articles are being written in order to depict Meghan as a narcissist. Doesn't mean she's a narcissist. The function is to make her look like a narcissist because those are pro-royal newspapers. They're newspapers that sell a lot of rags propping up the royal family. And for anybody who's been on a photo shoot, anybody here been on a photo shoot? I've been on a couple of them. You spend a couple of hours in wardrobe, and makeup and everything else. Your hair is done, your makeup is done, your clothes are done. They check to see if there's to pinch to see if there's a little string hanging from your dress. You guys have done your weddings, right? So it's that times a million, right? And so every move you make has been coordinated with a staff, every position where the camera is allowed to be while you sit and smile from the, wherever with your husband. And this is why Princess Diana said, I deserve the Academy Award. I put on a great act. Everybody thought, Diana and Charles, they're so in love. And where was he on the weekend? He was off with his girlfriend. And where was Diana? Home alone, in the castle, while her husband on the weekends ran off with his girlfriend. And that was going to be the arrangement. You're like a little lamb to slaughter, right? There we have that imagery again. She looked like a little lamb, right? So you're the little lamb with the little lambettes, with her little lamb babies. And he's off with his girlfriend on the weekends. His mistress, right, who's now queen. So everything worked out perfectly. He got the hair, he got the spare, and he got the queen. He got it all. He got it all because he's the king. And damn it, he earned it because you controlled me from the moment I was born. I am the institution, and the institution is me. And so therefore, if the institution says that she is queen and not queen consort, but queen, so it is written, so it will be done because I am now the institution. So, on that happy note, I just wanted to say that was the main thing I felt when I got into the shoes of William that I wanted to convey, not Kate in this, but that I have been controlled. Get off of me, right? This reminds me of when the Queen's funeral happened and King Charles was exhausted and he just... he just need a moment because they wanted him to sign the register for the hotel. And it was just one thing too many. Get off of me. That point when you've controlled me to the utmost degree and I have reached my limits. And that is exactly how I felt with William. I am now you have bred me to go into the shoes of becoming one with the institution. You have raised me to be the institution. You're going to have to trust me, trust that I know what I'm doing, and to give me some control because I have been controlled for so long. And that's the frustration I felt with him that they speak about when they talk about the history of Queen Victoria. The second thing, the other thing that people wanted to talk about had to do with excessive drinking in college. This is a little different here in the United States. I'll grant you that. America's drinking age is 21, and at 18, we didn't drink. We went, that was if you went to a graduate party where you could legally drink, was the seniors had beer. A couple of the seniors were 21. They would go in college. But a freshman shouldn't be a senior. There was definitely that feeling that a sophomore shouldn't be there. And some of the kids, I don't know, maybe we were like goody two-shoes, but they would actually call and say, hey, there's a minor here. We don't want trouble. Like we would get kicked out. Like if a sophomore or a freshman, you're not supposed to be here. You're teenagers. So kids were kind of good about policing that in our community, but I know there's wicked and wild all over the place. But the other thing was we didn't have money for drinking. It was endless cups of coffee. You had unlimited coffee, and they hated us at the coffee shops because we would sit there and take over a booth, and we would just open up our school books and drink coffee. Can I have another cup of coffee? Can I have another cup of coffee? And not realize we want you to just leave the coffee shop, right? But that's what we would do. But no, I think even if you take into account that Catherine and William grew up in a culture where drinking starts at 18, I think that even they would admit that it was excessive. And I'll give some evidence of that. Catherine was actually the founder of the Women's Drinking Society at her at her university, at her college. So she was very much into it, and she, the first remote view I did of Catherine, the first astral dream, when I connected to her, we were talking about drinking, and I told her that I didn't drink, and she, really, you never drink? And I said, no, I don't drink because it upsets my stomach. And she said, really? And then she manifested it looked like a liqueur or something, like a drink, and she went, whoop. She made this noise like, whoop, and she took the whole shot down, and she said, see, it goes straight down. Like, I don't have that problem at all. Whoop, goes straight down. And I liked her very, very much. I thought she was funny. I just really liked Catherine very much. I loved her energy. But she had no problems drinking. She in plain words, what she was saying in the dream was, I can hold it. I can hold my liquor. It doesn't make me sick at all. No problem, boys. Like, I'm Scottish, right? Like, she could handle her liquor. But as I continued to connect in remote view with Catherine and deal with my healing, I found myself moving towards the church and seeking, and also challenges in my marriage, challenges connecting with my husband, feeling that distance was it was like a gulf between us when I got ill. That's how I felt when Catherine got ill, was that and I felt like he had moved out at one point and was staying at an apartment in London that the Royals have. I felt like there was this need for distance, and with my illness and everything, it's kind of like I felt abandoned, quite frankly, as Catherine, to some extent, and a need to connect with him, and just having to get well and moving towards my faith in the church and my faith in Christ and my spirituality. And he is very much not into religion, like in any big way. I felt like he was not a deeply religious person. He had his ethics, his values, and so there was a rift that started to happen when she was trying to heal and pray and have this miracle healing happen, this spiritual connection to Christ, and seeking counseling from the bishop, talking to a confessor. Like, she was doing this deep spiritual work during that time. And I felt like this is around the time also trying to get well, that she had quit drinking. So that was kind of interesting. The last thing had to do with Meghan and narcissism. I moved to West Hollywood in 2008, and I lived in West Hollywood until 2017. And there are several yoga studios in West Hollywood, and pretty much anybody and everybody who's famous, who's into yoga, goes to West Hollywood yoga. It's kind of, the thing to do. And after yoga, people go into the Earth Bar. I'll go ahead, if you want to see celebrities, Earth Bar, smoothies, vitamins, you can get snacks. And that's where people start to show up. I think yoga started around 9, and around 11:30, 12 is when Meghan and everybody would show up. She's not there anymore. I think she still does hang out in West Hollywood, though, occasionally. But she's very pretty. She's extremely feminine. Her legs are very graceful. I mean, like, even in yoga clothing, I think she must have taken dance, because there's a certain grace she has. I can see why he compared her to Princess Diana, because I didn't know who she was, and this was before she had met her prince. But I just remember thinking, oh, that lady's like a fairy. She's so feminine. She's the way she's sitting, and was very, very pretty. I never nobody ever said anything about her being a narcissist. She was never rude. She was never conceited. She didn't seem self-absorbed. She didn't seem even slightly narcissistic. She seemed a little bit on the shy side. She seemed kind. She seemed extremely disciplined and professional. but narcissism wouldn't even be, of the times I saw her, it wouldn't. I just remember, wow, she's really pretty. She seems like she's really got it together. Wow, she seems really disciplined. And she seems nice. Those are my impressions. So it is the job of Royal Rags to weave a story. I have served her. I have been her servant. Right? Oh, she abused the servant. I have been her servant. I have served her. She was lovely. I don't see a problem. So she also used to shop at Erewhon Natural Foods Market, which I headed their vitamin department for 2 years. I didn't see a problem. So I was in the same community as this individual and served her off and on from 2008 till like 2013, 14, actually more than that. No, because it must have been more than that. It must have been 2016. We never saw any of this. We never saw any of this. None of this came up. There was never an article. There was never gossip. There was never any suggestion that this individual was a terrible person in any way, shape, or form. I am pretty intuitive. I work with a lot of celebrities. I know the good ones and the bad ones. It just didn't happen. So those are my experiences. Those are my biases, and that is also my remote view. How and why I put it together the way I did. All right. I hope you enjoyed this bit of coffee and gossip and remote viewing of the royals. If you're trying to get in for a reading with me, you can find all the information below this video. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out. We'll see you next time. Bye.